What's going on, guys? JSGC here, and we are here for another daily Manchester City transfer update. Before I do crack on with today's video, make sure, like always, if you are enjoying the content, do subscribe to my channel. It is free to subscribe. Going to keep you guys up to date here on YouTube every single day with all the latest Manchester City transfer news. It is free to subscribe. Also, don't forget social media links there in the description if you want to go and follow me on my Twitter, Instagram and TikTok. Email also in the description too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up. 300 likes is the aim. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And finally, I want to say a big thank you to today's video sponsor, which is brought to you by Sofascore. Sofascore will be keeping you guys up to date throughout the summer with the latest scores from the Copa America and from the European Championships, which starts today. So do go and check out Sofascore. Links and details there in the description. It is a free app to download. Anyone that does download Sofascore using my link does help to support the future content created here on my channel. Sofascore is a free app to download, very highly rated, so worthwhile checking out if you haven't done so already. So we're going to crack on with this video. We've got no contract news to speak about, we've got no outs news to speak about, which means we've got a couple of stories to speak about in terms of the ins, and we're going to start off by speaking about Dani Olmo. We're speaking about him in yesterday's transfer update, and Sport Zone have gone on to say that Manchester City are indeed interested in signing Dani Olmo and have begun making initial inquiries about signing the player. Now, as I was saying in yesterday's transfer update, I like Dani Olmo. I think he's a brilliant player. Of course, got that €60 million release clause, so negotiations don't have to be a problem here for Manchester City and being worried that they're getting ripped off or there's going to be a transfer battle. They know the price that they want to pay if they want to sign Dani Olmo. My concern that I have with Dani Olmo is that he's had a fair few injuries, not just this season, but in previous seasons as well, playing just 21 times in the Bundesliga due to injuries. Manchester City have been long-term admirers of Dani Olmo, and he's certainly an option. What I think people do get confused with when it comes to my transfer updates is they see a name, maybe on the thumbnail or in the title, and they think, wow, that's Manchester City definitely going to be making a move for that player, rather than having a look and watch the video to see what is being said, what the sources are suggesting, and what my opinions are of these transfers. Because, as I said yesterday, Dani Olmo, I think, would be a good contingency for Manchester City if we get through into the latter parts of the window. So we get through June, we get through July, and Man City are still wanting to bring in a central midfielder. They're struggling in terms of bringing a player in. Maybe we've already let a player go, and you're wanting somebody who's a good option, a creative option, who isn't going to cost the earth for Manchester City. I think Dani Olmo would be a good contingency for Manchester City, and I think that is what he's been seen as, rather than priority A, as I was saying yesterday. I firmly believe that Dani Olmo will be some kind of contingency, option B, option C, option D, but these are options. Manchester City don't always settle on the first player that they want to bring in, because sometimes it isn't feasible, it isn't possible, and they'll have a look at other alternatives as well. And so you're not putting all your eggs into one basket. City have done that in previous summer transfer windows. It hasn't gone very well, and it very much looks like Manchester City are keeping themselves in contention, in the hunt with bringing players in and ensuring that there are all kinds of possibilities that are kept open for as long as possible into this window. And that actually moves us very nicely on to the final transfer, and that leaves us on to an update on a player who's now back in the headlines, a new name for this window, but certainly not a new name when it comes to daily Manchester City transfer updates, and that's of course an update on Michael Olise. Now, some of you guys may have checked out some of the top City content creators from yesterday speaking about Michael Olise, so I'm going to pretty much be repeating what they have said, plus any additional information that has been included in the last 24 hours. So Michael Olise, Crystal Palace, David Ornstein has said that Manchester City, they're remaining keen on signing him from last summer. Manchester United, Newcastle and Chelsea all been linked. It's believed that Chelsea have stolen a march on Manchester City and the other teams chasing Olise, as Chelsea have already spoken with Crystal Palace when it comes to trying to sign Michael Olise, and it's believed that Chelsea have asked Crystal Palace for permission to speak to Olise's representative representatives, and I presume to the player as well, which is why they're asking for permission. If you just want to speak to the representatives, you don't need permission. If you want to speak to the player and his representatives, you are going to need permission, because otherwise it's tapping up. Very famous case of Ashley Cole, of course, back in the early 2000s, and his transfer to Chelsea from Arsenal, where the player got locked in a hotel room. It was seen as tapping up. There was a lot of controversy. So things have been put in place now where you can speak to the camp, you just can't speak directly to the player. Chelsea obviously want to speak directly to the player, so they're going to Crystal Palace to avoid any controversies when it comes to that transfer. And other than that, that's as far as it goes. We've had some interesting news that's come in from Matt Law at the Telegraph, who's been speaking about this release clause, because David Ornstein's confirmed it, Matt Law has confirmed it. There is a release clause in Olise's contract. It's believed to be worth £60 million. I don't know what it is with this summer and £60 million, but it seems like a nice round number for everybody to be speaking about. So they're saying the release clause is there for £60 million, but Matt Law has said that it's complicated because he believes, and he does stress that he believes here, not fact, but this is his understanding, is that £60 million is only active for teams that are in the Champions League for next season. So Chelsea, not in the Champions League. They're being linked. Newcastle, not in the Champions League. They're being linked. Manchester United, not in the Champions League. They're being linked. Manchester City are in the Champions League and are being linked. So if Manchester City want to sign him, £60 million would be Man City's going rate for that release clause. For the other clubs, I don't know if they're happy to negotiate a price, pay a little bit more, settle on £60 million. Seems like quite a complicated transfer for everybody involved, unless you're a team in the Champions League. So if Man City are interested last summer and they're interested this summer as well, they're probably going to have to act quite quickly, because I can imagine that Chelsea are going to try and get this transfer sorted as quickly as possible before any other club decide to make their move. Now, all clubs seem to be very concerned about PSR and not wanting to make moves for any players. We know the transfer window has opened today. However, PSR is still in place right through to the end of June, so it doesn't clock over to the next year until July 1st. So clubs aren't going to want to spend money for this year when they can spend it next year in terms of their financial fair play. So I suspect that transfers will start to be confirmed as we get very close towards July 1st, and from July 1st they'll start to push on from there. So the option for Manchester City that they have is they could say they want Olise, they'll activate that release clause, they'll speak with his representatives, speak with the player, get everything finalised and sorted, and then say to Crystal Palace, we will activate this release clause on July 1st. That's when we're looking to get this transfer done, dusted, signed, sealed and delivered. At the moment though, it is looking like Chelsea are going to be the team that Michael Olise goes to rather than Manchester City. But if City do want him, they're going to have to act quick. So my thoughts out there to you guys. Olise, £60 million. Yes or no? Let me know in the comments below. Do you think Manchester City should be making this happen? So there we go. That has been today's daily Manchester City transfer update. Remember, subscribe. I'm going to keep you guys up to date here on YouTube every single day with all the latest Manchester City transfer news. So if you haven't already, do subscribe to my channel. It is free to subscribe. Also, don't forget social media links. They're in the description if you want to go and follow me on my Twitter, Instagram and TikTok. Email also in the description too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries. Don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments below. Also, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. 300 likes is the aim. And finally, do go and check out today's video sponsor, which is brought to you by Sofascore. I'll see you guys all again tomorrow religiously for the next daily Manchester City transfer update. I have got my transfer show out for you guys, 4:30 PM BST today. Link's already out on my channel if you want to go and set your reminders for. I'll see you for that. Alternatively, if not, I'll see you tomorrow for the next daily Manchester City transfer update. So I've been JSGC. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope everyone is safe and well. Peace. Ciao for now.